Magical Day at the Players Championship, Friday, 2018. If you missed any of those episodes, you can go back and listen to the Dream 18 podcast with myself, Brent Martineau, along with Casey Kurtz, who's along for the ride as well each and every Wednesday. This week, our guest is a name, I'll be honest with you, you probably don't know. But I think his story is fascinating, and we hope you like the storytelling part of it, and that is Scott Wilson, who I met at Streamsong Resort. And his story is he has played, you talk about a Dream 18 round? He has played a lot of different Dream 18 rounds, not just at Streamsong, but other places. And Scott shares with us the top 100 public golf course experience in the United States, or top 100 in the United States, not just public, top 100. And then also he's played 78 of the top 100 in the world, according to some lists. So we get into that conversation, and he will take us on a journey that probably no other guest will be able to do here on the Dream 18 show. That's coming up, our conversation in just a little bit. Brent Martineau and Casey Kurtz, and we like to talk a little golf to get us kicked off before our guest joins us. And let's do that right now. Casey Kurtz, Phil Mickelson in the news this week. Sounds like he's going to play in a couple of major tournaments. How big is that news in the sport of golf?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if you don't know, he's registered for the PGA and the U.S. Open, so the Open is still on the outside looking in for now. But it was weird that he didn't play in the Masters, obviously. We know what happened there. But in terms of the PGA, you almost have to play because you're the defending champ. Like it was a long time ago, but how we can forget that Phil is still the defending champ of the PGA. So if he didn't play, I think would be a bigger story. Now that he is playing, it's back to normal in a sense. I know there will still be some criticism in that, but you do what you have to do. And at the end of the day, I guess, you know, what Phil said is what he said, but I think everybody said something they wish they could take back. And we get to the point where we just have to move on and accept what happened. And I think that's what's starting to happen here with Phil Mickelson. He is somebody that a lot of people loved, obviously. I was out there at the Furyk and Friends event in November, and he was playing on the senior tour, and people were following him around like crazy. So Phil's a guy that really, besides Tiger, a lot of people revolve around Phil. So I think it's good that he will be able to get back out there if he does officially play. But him just putting his name in the hat is definitely a good start.
Well, how much does golf still need Phil Mickelson? We've asked this question a long time. Phil Mickelson, one of the all-time greats, right? And he, just for his duel with Tiger Woods, allowed Tiger to be a polarizing figure, allowed you to pick a favorite if you wanted to. Heck, it was a lefty-righty matchup and all that. It seemed like in many a times they didn't really like each other, even though I think it kind of turned out that wasn't really that true, or at least they grew to like each other or not dislike each other as much as maybe they did or appeared to be as competitors. But, you know, Tiger Woods will always move the needle. Phil Mickelson, that was historic what he did at the PGA Championship last year. It was fascinating. It gripped the golf world. It gripped the sports world. Not to the degree Tiger does, but it did grip the sports world. That being said, now that he did that, how much left does Phil have to offer to, let's just say, the golf fan and the game of golf that he already hasn't contributed? And does the PGA Tour, do we as golf fans in general, need Phil Mickelson still, Casey?
Do we need him? I would say no. Need is a tough word there, but I think it's a treat to have somebody like Phil, because when you're without Tiger, which granted we've heard about the Open and everything, but we haven't heard about the PGA or the U.S. Open. Without Tiger, without Phil, you have a bunch of newer guys. I guess Rory McIlroy would be in the older generation, if you will, at 31, which is a weird thing to say, but we don't need him. But if you want to keep kind of the older generation of stars and the transition to the newer generation, then in that case, you would need Phil. But if you're okay without Phil and without Tiger and just are looking at the guys like JT, Morikawa, Hovland, and the younger players, Jon Rahm included, I think you don't really need him. I will say this, though. Jon Rahm, in his press conference before the event this week, the Mexico Open, they asked him about Phil, and apparently they have a good relationship. Jon Rahm said, this guy has given his life to golf, and a lot of what we have, a lot of people don't know a lot of people of what we had. I don't know what all this is. But anyway, long story short, he said he's easily one of the top 10 players of all time. He's a Hall of Famer, and we should recognize him as that. So
absolutely. I mean, he's done a lot for the golf. I mean, listen, I was just talking to somebody the other day. I play golf left-handed. My kids play golf left-handed. Recently, as recent as last year, we went and played over at the golf club at Southampton. And Ty and I were just joining up with a group, and so we play left-handed. Well, it turns out that group, the two other gentlemen that we played with, were both left-handed, Casey.
What the heck?
I've been playing golf for 35 years, I would say, about close to at the very least. And that is the first time that it ever happened to me, where I had played in a foursome with all left-handed golfers. Now, as the years have clicked along, you'd go up to the range and you'd see maybe 3 or 4. And even you'd be next to somebody that's left-handed, you'd be like, wow, hey, they're left-handed too. But I'm not that old, and I was just telling somebody this story the other day, that when I would ride my bike to the golf store when I was first getting into golf and just see what the clubs were. I couldn't afford them, all that stuff, but I was just at least scoping it out and seeing what they had. Well, the first round of golf I ever played was right-handed. A neighbor told me to, because that's what lefties did. They turned around and played right-handed. Well, I didn't like it, so I stayed and played left-handed. I had a miserable time, so I was like, I'm playing left-handed. Well, I would go up to this store, which was, I don't know, it wasn't like this major, like, national store, but it was a pretty big store in our area. And they had, I remember it clear as day, they had, like, 2 sets of lefties clubs. That's it. 2 sets. And this is back in, like, the 90s.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not that long ago. We're not talking like the 60s or 70s. We're talking in the 90s. Now you go to PGA Tour Superstore, they have 3 rows of left-handed golfers. Like, that is Phil Mickelson, by the way. Like, Phil made being lefty cool. And so he didn't – I mean, he helped a generation of left-handed swingers, quite frankly, in the game of golf. And so he's had a huge impact. Obviously, the rivalry with Tiger. Obviously, his superb play. Obviously, the ability to be a magician around the greens. And his quest to win the major became this feel-good story. And his unconquered nature of the U.S. Open also became a story and a feel-good one. And he also gravitated to the fans because he knew the fans were a big part of it. So Phil has left an impact on the game. He doesn't need to sign up for another tournament. His impact has already been felt. So I'm always interested, though. Like, I don't think we need Tiger Woods, but selfishly as fans, we want Tiger Woods still. I guess I'm not so sure, selfishly, we even want Phil Mickelson anymore. And I like Phil.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I need to flip on my TV. Like, Phil kind of gave us his maybe one last moment last year at the PGA Championship. And I think I'm content with that. I'm not sure I'm fully content with Tiger, even though he gave us a heck of a moment at the 2019 Masters.
That's fair. I agree. But I think when Phil was giving us that moment last year, I think people that it's sort of the Tiger effect to a sense, right? So when Tiger was winning the Masters the last time, everybody was watching and it was the lead story on like the news. Was that the same with Phil? Probably not. But even casual golf fans, I think we're pretty locked in to see if Phil could do it. But I think that brings to the point where Phil still does need the U.S. Open, right? And we saw last year he pretty much did the impossible and won on an extremely tough golf course when he wasn't playing well at all. So the idea that he could do that, in my mind, still leaves it open that he could do this and win the U.S. Open. And by the way, for those wondering, this year the U.S. Open will be held at a course that has not held it since 1988. So Phil has not had a chance here, but I will say the 1999 Ryder Cup was held at this course. Phil Mickelson was 4-1 in that Ryder Cup. So, you know, I think Phil sees an opportunity, and now that he doesn't have to worry about having the qualification like he did for the last couple of years, you win the PGA and you're in. So I think there is some motivation there. And then for me anyway, knowing that he needs it, and just I know that anytime he has an opportunity to get it, same thing with Jordan when he's at the PGA, when you have the opportunity to win all 4, it's a big deal. So I'll be locked into that. So I'd like to see him at least be able to have a chance with the qualification now, and hopefully, even though he is registered, he does indeed fully play in the U.S. Open.
I've got another one for you as we wrap up the Phil conversation, and we get to our conversation with Scott Wilson and talk about his Dream 18 or Dream 18s, if you will, from all over the world and all over the United States. Are we offended if Phil plays in this Saudi league? Are we offended if others, but especially Phil? Phil is like ours. Ours is what we know it in terms of golf is the PGA Tour. And the PGA Tour, if you're listening from all over the globe here or anywhere you're listening from, is in our backyard here in the Jacksonville, Florida area. So it feels like home. That's home cooking. That's the one we support. That's what's done, at least internally for me, Casey. Like, I'm not wrapping my arms around the Saudi League. And I'm not sure it's the worst thing in the world for guys to go play over there. But I'm also not like, okay, that's cool. I can't wait to watch Phil go play over there. I feel like, I don't know, I might be a bit offended by the idea that he thinks playing over there for money, at least at the moment, is more important than playing on the PGA Tour where he built his career.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It feels wrong. I think I can agree with you there. But I will say that if it's solely about money, then yeah, that kind of rubs you the wrong way when Phil's made all of it pretty much. So that's different. But if you look at it in terms of this is a new thing, Phil's done literally almost everything in this sport except one thing, and that's win the U.S. Open on the PGA Tour. I think if you go at it in terms of this is a new thing, I want to start this, I want to be that person. I take it sort of in a very soft comparison, and Austin Lane would be proud, of Cody Rhodes going to AEW. He had kind of made his spot in WWE. AEW popped up and was like, hey, we're new, we're different, and we're going to do this. And Cody Rhodes signed on and was the face of that for a long time. Obviously, that has now changed, but if Phil or even a guy like Bubba or somebody were to do that in terms of trying to grow that, would it be weird? Would I love it? Probably not, but I could at least see what you're doing and you're trying to kind of build something from the ground up with your name attached to it. I think there is some pride in that if you can do it successfully.
Yeah, we'll see what happens and if it becomes the norm rather than a headline when guys go over there. How does the PGA Tour treat this? We've heard Jay Monahan talk about it, but he hasn't really had to rule on it just yet. Phil Mickelson has requested that he go play in an event in London. And what will the PGA Tour do? He also wants to play, obviously, in the USGA event, the U.S. Open, and the PGA Championship, too. So a lot of dominoes to fall maybe in the next month or two, not only when it comes to Phil Mickelson, the PGA Tour, the Saudi League, and how some of this stuff could get handled. Very interesting time right now in the sport of golf, which continues to absolutely boom locally, nationally, all over the globe. It is amazing. Go try to book a tee time for Saturday here on a Wednesday, and I guarantee you, you're going to have a lot of trouble, at least in this area and probably wherever you live as well. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz. It's the Dream 18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors and Power Tee. We will take a break, and when we come back here on ESPN 690, we catch up with Scott Wilson. We will introduce you to him. I know you don't know the name, but you're going to love the game when we're done with him. And you're also going to want to do what he did, at least a time or two. That's coming up next on ESPN 690.
Here at ESPN 690, Brent and Austin have become addicted to sports cards.
Jamar Chase, season's greetings, autograph, 2 of 3. I'm banging, bang, 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 bang. Tony Montana, Tony Montana, bang.
That was our best moment.
Dude,
that was our moment.
Join the addiction weekdays from 3 to 6 right here on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and becoming breezy today with a brief shower or two. Highs in the upper 70s to near 80, but cooler by late afternoon. Clearing tonight down into the 50s and partly to mostly sunny and mild tomorrow. Your Thursday high, 78. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 at Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Get the guaranteed lowest price at the only locally owned diamond store in the St. John's Town Center.
St. Michael's Soldiers is a grassroots effort to support the local military and their families, and is also a proud beneficiary of the Dream 18 charities. St. Michael's Soldiers sends thousands of care packages to men and women overseas annually. They also host special events for Gold Star and Blue Star families in the Jacksonville area. Plus, they support first responders with their Homegrown Kindness Project. They also hold events like Rock the Box Charity Concert and Stuffing Stockings for Soldiers. Follow St. Michael's Soldiers on Facebook, Instagram, and at stmichaelsoldiers.org.
We were ready to sell, but honestly, I got so overwhelmed with everything that needed to be done. The ripped screen door, the worn carpet, it's just too much. Accepting the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate shortened my to-do list.
Hi, this is Mark Spain. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home stress-free and receive the strongest cash offer in the industry.
We filled out a quick form on their website and someone called us within minutes. And within days, we accepted the guaranteed offer and put in an offer on our new home.
Thousands of homeowners are selling their home with our guaranteed offer to make maximum profit and skip the stress of selling their home.
They have an average 5-star rating with thousands of reviews. Trustworthy, knowledgeable about my area, and super responsive. All the things that were most important to us.
With our guaranteed offer, there are no showings, no open houses, and no stress.
They say they have the strongest cash offer in the industry, and that's true. And the value of getting all of my time back that I would have spent on home repairs, priceless.
Sell your home fast or choose when you want to move. The guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Go to markspain.com to receive a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
Voted best gift of the year for golfers by the ESPN 690 Golf Enthusiast Review Board. Want to make the golfer in your life love you even more? Order the 2022 ESPN Dream 18 card for just $69. Big discounts on golf all year. Golf courses are raising their rates with the recent boom. The Dream 18 card has even more value now. For less than dinner for two at your favorite upscale restaurant, you will receive tremendously discounted rounds at some of the area's best golf courses. Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, the Yards added this year, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Plus, you'll receive a free smoothie from Smoothie King, a free hat from Dome Hats, a free shirt at Baker's Sports, and a discount on a purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. Play 2 rounds of golf, and the card pays for itself. $69, that's it. Some of the proceeds go to the Dream 18 charity as well. Buy the card at ActionSportsShacks-Dream18.com. Supplies are limited. Go to ActionSportsShacks-Dream18.com.
A proud sponsor of the Dream 18 is Power Tee. Find out everything you need to know about them at PowerTee.com because they just make golf better. They provide an automatic teeing system while you are on the range. It is easy. No bending, no extra energy. Just worry about making contact, or trying to, and then Power Tee will tee up another ball for you. Locally, find Power Tee at Fleming Island and Blue Sky Golf Club and all over the world, including St. Andrews. PowerTee.com for all the information, and make golf better.
How would you like to relieve inflammation, headaches, anxiety, arthritis, even joint pain? Improve your sleep, maybe a 500-calorie burn or an endorphin kick. Total body healing at iCryo. It's now open in St. Johns County at the Pavilion at Durban. One lifestyle service, just $39. Get special passes to save more on multiple lifestyle services. Cryotherapy, IV therapy, body sculpting, and more at iCryo. Elevate your lifestyle at iCryo. Now open in the Pavilion at Durban Park in St. Johns County.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Dream 18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors and Power Tee. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, and we talk about the Dream 18. If you don't know much about it, again, this is our debut season of the Dream 18 show, but it branched off from a TV segment that we started in Jacksonville, Florida back in 2010 into a charity golf tournament, and we now do discount cards, golf cards in the area in Northeast Florida, and now the show. And the whole concept of the Dream 18 for the show is your favorite round of golf. A lot of times people's favorite round of golf is the score. Great score. How can it not be, right? You shoot your best score. That's a heck of a round. Your favorite courses. I got to play Augusta. How could that not be my favorite round? It's not my favorite round of golf because of my score. but instead where I played. And maybe there's other circumstances like who you played with, a good friend, your grandfather, your dad, somebody else, and why it was important and impactful and one to remember for you. Well, we bring this question up to Scott Wilson, who used to be a director of golf at Stream Song Resort. That's where I met him. And Casey, he had a hard time picking just one because he has played some of the best golf courses, not only in the United States of America, but around the globe. He is like the epitome of the Dream 18, and he's actually now started a business where he wants to take you on your Dream 18. But Casey, let's first hear about Scott Wilson and his journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we did this interview, I was all pro on the Sitting There team just listening to this man tell stories. It was truly incredible. So there's a lot of things you're going to hear about in this, his Dream 18, but a ton of different places he's played all over the world, top courses, places that you definitely would want to play. So we'll tell you how to get in contact with him on the other side. But it all started with a conversation between Scott and Brent, and we got to this point right here.
We're sitting at dinner at Stream Song Resort. It's a media event, and I'm sitting near Scott. And somehow we get into the conversation about him playing the Golf Digest list of America's greatest golf courses. It's a top 100 list. This goes off the 2003, 2004 list, and you were trying to check every one of those courses off your list. And how did you go about doing it? Why did you decide to do it? And now we'll start the journey of this top 100 in the United States before we get to, well, the rest of the world.
Well, I think what happened was my wife's name is Annie, and she and I were getting married, and I saw a list, and I counted up the ones I had played and looked at some of the pictures of the ones that I hadn't, and I think I was at maybe 12, 13, and said, you know, I wonder if anyone's ever done this before, not knowing anything about the list, and started checking them off after opening a golf course in Southern California. Two golf courses actually, and it all of a sudden start to build momentum, and Annie's been great because she's the best wife in the world to allow me to go off with two small children at home and go play these great places. But it was kind of like I get my time, we get our time, and then we have the family time. So it was always workable, and I never was gone for more than a few days at a time. But it did take some logistical planning, and it all worked out after, gosh, it took 15, 20 years total to do the entire list.
Wow, how about that? 20 years. So give us your first. Well, you had said you already had 13, but your first one you remember traveling to that would have made it number 14, and then your last one.
Well, I had done the California stint of, you know, all the way from Riviera, Los Angeles Country Club, Pebble Beach, and those, and a few others in the area, Washington, Oregon. And then all of a sudden Bandon Dunes came online, and that was something that all of a sudden became a hit. And then my last one, actually, I had 99 with 6 years prior to finishing 100, and that would be the one that might come to mind next week, Augusta National. So it is it's a process, and I didn't know if I was ever going to meet somebody that was a member or have some connection, but actually had to go to Scotland to meet a couple of fellows that actually ended up getting us onto to Augusta later that year in 2015.
Did you find that somebody wanted to almost help you get that number 100? I mean, once you told your story, like, listen, I got to get on Augusta National. I know it's like the hardest thing to do, but I've got to get on. By the way, you had already got on some pretty exclusive golf courses on that list, too.
Yes, it's always been, you know, a dream, you know, to do some of the golf courses like Pine Valley or, you know, Shinnecock or something like that. And I worked at a club in Vero Beach that had quite a few members of these clubs. And then when I went back to California, it didn't look like it was going to happen for those 6 years. And, you know, it's not something you ask for. You don't ask to become a member. You don't ask to become a guest of a member. And so somebody else did it for me, and I was on a trip to Scotland with Tom Coyne, who's written quite a few books about golfing in Ireland, and a course called Ireland, a course called Scotland, and it was the Scotland trip that we met a gentleman, and that became the end of his book. We played together, and the end of my list, which was so much fun, and so many memories come out of that.
That's awesome. Scott, when you, obviously, I think most people know, obviously, the PGA Tour courses that are played in the major championship courses, but when you look at some of the other courses that you played that maybe people don't know about, not name recognition to the casual golf fan or casual golfer, what's one spot in the top 100 that you played that's like, this needs more recognition to the casual golfer?
Wow, that's a big question. There's so many good golf courses that could be on this list. I mean, there's only 100 in the nation, and courses like Marion and Cypress Point and Pebble Beach, those are all way up there in everyone's list because they've been there so many years. But courses like Camargo, that's been on the list very consistently. It's a Seth Rayner design, just beautiful. It's in Cincinnati. And very prestigious, but very quiet. And we went out there and had just a wonderful time with all the different template holes that they have. But there's courses that people have never heard of that probably are in the top 140 that at any moment could be in the top 100. And I won't go into it because there's so many courses out there that are like that. But I love playing the game. I like playing new courses, and this gave me a chance to see some of the best in the nation over a course of, like I said, 20 years. And it was fun, and also got to see the cities and the country. You know, when you're driving from Denver to go to Sand Hills and then Ballyneal and then coming back to Denver with Castle Pines and stuff like that, you get to see a lot of the country when you're driving.
Do you know of anybody else have you run into that has done something like this, something similar? I can't imagine you're the only one, but you've got to be one of few.
Well, I don't know this for sure, but I believe I'm the only PGA golf professional that's done this in America. I do know that there's several people that have done the 100 in the world, and they've capped it off. It's probably in that 40 to 50 range, something like that. But as far as Golf Digest goes, or as Golf Week or Golf Magazine, I don't know about the America lists that they have as far as how many people have played them.
Let's go a little quick lightning round, given your, circumstances on that longest round of golf in Michigan. Do you have, and I know this is a tough one, it's like picking your own kid, right? Do you have a favorite?
In the nation or in Michigan?
In the nation. In your top
nation,
100.
Hands down, Cypress Point.
Really? Why so?
I grew up in California, and when my father got me introduced to golf, he was not a golfer, but he was a photographer, amateur photographer. He loved going to the Bing Crosby, the Bob Hope, the Andy Williams on the California coast. And one of my first tournaments was the Bing Crosby, way back when it was called that. I was just a little kid. And one of the courses we started at was Spyglass, and then we went over to Cypress Point back when it was in the rotation. And just remember seeing it. It was so beautiful. And this is, 6 months into me even knowing what golf was. And seeing the golf courses and the trees and the coastline and the different types of holes in the sand dunes and the trees in the cliffs, just amazing place. And then getting to play it, I worked at Spyglass Hill right down the road, and getting to play Cypress a few times, and it's just absolutely gorgeous.
Some nostalgia there for sure. At one of the most difficult courses to get on, by the way. I think, right, that Cypress Point, Pine Valley, Augusta, kind of all in the same breath. Maybe Augusta's a little bit separate, but all those are kind of as exclusive comes.
Yes, definitely.
Scott Wilson with us. All right, best round you played, best score, Doesn't always equal best round, but maybe it does in this instance. And overall, by the way, did you play pretty good golf? You're obviously a golfer and a good golfer at that. Did you play pretty well at the top 100?
I would say my best round in the top 100 would definitely be Cherry Hills in Denver, Colorado. And I had read a little bit about Arnold Palmer winning the U.S. Open there, and I remember hearing he birdied 1, 2, and 3. And so I get there, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a fun day. It was beautiful out until about the 16th hole when the thunder started rolling. And I birdied 1, 2, and 3, and ended up making a 3 on the last hole for 69. Wow. And the analogy to Palmer, obviously I'm not in the U.S. Open, but it was just so neat to do what he did. But I'm having wedges into this, and I know he drove the first green. So a little bit different scenario, but still kind of fun to have some link to that golf course.
So we're with Scott Wilson here. He's taking us through – the show is Dream 18, right? 1 round of golf. Well, in this instance, it might be like 100 rounds of golf for the top 100 list. Back in 2003 and 4, it took 20 years for Scott to play all 100 courses. Augusta National was his final one in the States. Well, this story branches out to the entire globe because Scott's played a lot of golf around the world, and you're working on another list. You've played 78 out of the top 100, right, in the world list of top 100 golf courses.
That is correct, and it's just I'm probably not designing my travels around that specifically. If I get to some of the courses in England, I'll go ahead and try to play some of them. But America was definitely designed to finish the list. This one, it's just you're counting, and how many times am I going to go to South Africa? Well, hopefully with Wilson Links, we'll go there. And then there's so many other off the beaten path where they only have one in a country, and I might not be able to get to those countries very easily. But we'll see where it goes and see what we end up with in the end.
Where's the most obscure place you've been so far? And do you have some tales of some of the golf courses that you've played maybe that some folks haven't heard of, unlike the Scotlands and Irelands that a lot of people do take tours to?
Well, I'd say not on the top 100 list, but obscure, I would definitely say Alaska. I grew up for a few years there with my father being working for an oil company, and the whole family moved up there. I was 3 at the time, but didn't play golf when we were there, but came back at a later date and played a 9-hole golf course that I remember seeing my father try to play years ago. And they had sand greens at the time, and now the greens are back to actually grassed. So they got a long playing day during their season, but not a very long season.
I was going to say, how did you putt on the sand greens?
It was pretty cool. They had some oil in it, and they had a T-bar that you would drag across and put your ball on that area so you could putt equidistant to wherever the ball was on the green, so you didn't have to rake the whole green or the whole sand area.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you're like looking for a golf trip and trying to cross off some of these lists that maybe would be on that top 100, is Scotland the place to go? Is it Ireland? Is there another cluster of the world that, hey, don't sleep on this? And I'm not talking about the United States in this instance, but is there another place you say, hey, now, you might want to take a trip here too?
Well, if you're trying to cross off the list, England, Scotland, Ireland, per capita probably has more links top 100 or Heathland top 100 courses than anywhere in the world. And then you're talking, America's going to have the most, but you've got Australia, New Zealand, and just some fantastic places to go to and play some golf.
So have you been down to Australia, New Zealand? You got down there, right?
I've done one trip where I did both, and I asked some architects' help, mainly Tom Doak, who's been kind of the king of architects in the modern era. down under, and he said don't do both at one time. And there's a little bit of difference in vacation time and monetary accessibility. So we definitely tried to do as much as we could in 14 days. And it was just fantastic. We got to see anything from Cape Kidnappers to Royal Melbourne before the President's Cup in 19, so we were there in 18. And got to know those golf courses and just had a ball. The Sand Belt, that's why I love Stream Song so much. It just reminded me of those courses in the Australian Sand Belt. They had very much similarities with fast and firm conditions, and the bunkers definitely came into play on many, many shots. And just the feel, the roll, the pitch, everything was fantastic links style, whether it was true links like Royal Melbourne and such. But I tell you, I'd love to go back and love to introduce that game to whoever wanted to go from the States, because you truly have to get there. If you haven't been to Australia or New Zealand, you definitely have to go just to say you've seen different golf courses from the standpoint of Scottish, Irish, English, all the way down to Australian. And you see different things. The first time we walked onto the grounds at Metropolitan in Australia in Melbourne, I remember seeing Steve Strickler win the match play there because it was the first time out of La Costa and out of the United States, and I was the pro at La Costa during the first WGC match play. And to see the golf course and the exact where the green meets the edge of the bunker. It's not like a strip of rough or anything, or it starts to go down into the bunker. It is like a tabletop, 90-degree from the green to the bunker. And those lips and the firmness of the sand, it's just amazing. And it's so different from anything we play in America.
There's a lot of different ways to view a golf course, absolutely. How about difficulty? What's the hardest golf course you've ever played? I think for me, I've played Winged Foot. I thought it was the hardest golf course I ever played. I played with some folks recently. They said Oakmont is the hardest they've ever played. If you go to the U.S. Open days, I think Shinnecock that time played so incredibly difficult. What, in your estimation of the courses that you've played in the United States, the top 100 list, or even around the world, is what people would say the hardest golf course?
Wow. I would say Ko'olau in Hawaii, but it's not on the top 100 list. But it's a jungle. You either hit the fairway or you're out. It's a great match play golf course. But in the list of the 100, I think Shinnecock would probably come to mind. Pine Valley is very fair off the tee, and if you miss greens, you're going to have some difficulty, but you're probably going to find the ball. Shinnecock in the wind probably can't be harder, and it also depends on which wind. And if I had one day it was rainy and windy, and the other day was just beautiful and a little bit of breeze. So definitely a little easier the second time around that I played it. But yeah, I think those two come to mind right away.
If I could book you a plane ticket and send you to the next place you want to go to cross off your list, where would that be?
Well, Northwest England, with Royal Lytham, Liverpool, all of those courses up there, Hillside. I've read about them. They're all true links courses, and I think that would be the bucket in the next one. And you don't have to drive too far in between.
Oh, that'd be pretty nice. Absolutely. Is it wild to you where you've worked and now that you see people in your travel industry that want to go play these courses, and every time somebody mentions a course, you're like, yeah, I've played there?
There is a majority, but no, I don't have them all, and don't expect to. I've got some friends that are, panelists and raters that have over 3,000 courses on their list.
Wow.
And I'm close to getting to 800 on my list. But no, the thing I got to go back to is that I don't love the whole rating systems that are in place, because it's so hard to differentiate between those. And like I said before, it's the fun factor that I go to, or I toward to lean toward. But there's so many different ways to rate these things, and every person sees a golf course differently. So I think that is something to be aware of, that something could not be on the list, but is equally a great golf course or a fun golf course. That, Edgewood in Tahoe comes to mind. It's not necessarily on those elite lists, but it's a fantastic golf course, and you see it on TV from the celebrity tournament every July 4th. But that type of golf course is it's always going to be fun to play, and it's beautiful, and the surroundings are beautiful, but it might not hit those lists necessarily.
Yeah, I think that's the fun of what we're trying to do here with this show, the Dream 18 show. It does not have to be the most exclusive golf course, one of the best golf courses in the world. Doesn't even have to be your best round of golf. If I were to ask you, Scott Wilson, your Dream 18, what would that entail? Your round that maybe you remember the most in your snapshot images of all the different golf you've played?
You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I've had some time to kind of think back and reflect. And it could be anywhere from when I was a kid to playing golf and having some fun. But I go back to 2019. My wife and I took a couples trip to Scotland, and we had a foursome guaranteed on the old course. And then the other four were not guaranteed, and I was one of those four. And two of the ladies said no, they'd rather go look around the town and see the history of the town, which is great. And one of the guys really wanted to go and really wanted to play the old. So what we did was we got there early, put our name on the queue, and actually was in line and talked to a gentleman with a Stream Song hat. It was thousands of miles away, and it was fantastic to see. And then we went and told the starter with the queue that we were going to go play another golf course in St. Andrews and then come back after lunch. So we did that, played 18, had lunch, and then came back, and it looked like it was going to be touch and go whether we're going to get out. And this is August, so there's daylight till about 8:15, and so we ended up getting on the queue early, and then by the time we came around, we were probably fourth on the list. And ended up getting out at 4 o'clock, and he was to that point where he didn't think it was going to happen because he knew 4 hours and 15 minutes from now we were going to be dark. And so we got out at 4 o'clock, made the turn at 6, and it was a nice day, beautiful for the morning group, and then cloudy and windy but nice. If you go to Scotland, you average for a week, you probably average 9 holes of rain, and so we make the turn about 6 o'clock and thinking, okay, this is going to be great. And on the back nine, about the 12th hole, it started raining a little bit. Nothing that, had to have too much concern about, the course being unplayable or anything. But that made the round so special because not only did we get out without a tee time, but we were able to finish 18 and coming down, I'd say 16, the rain stopped on the green, and then coming down 17 and 18, and you got the road hole, you got the finishing hole with all the lights starting to come on, and the mystical feeling that we had as we're coming down this stretch, and all of a sudden we're walking off 18, crossing the bridge, taking pictures and whatnot, and going to our second shots. We can hear his wife and my wife yelling out our names, and because they couldn't see us, but they could sense that someone was there because we were talking. And we joined them on the 18th, and they got to see our second shots and our putts. And it was just one of those things that I'll never forget because the group behind us finished, and then after that, it was pitch black.
Wow.
And just that feeling of being at the old course, the rain stopping just for us to finish the last few holes, and the fact that he was able to play one of his dream 18s or his dream golf courses, and we made it happen. It was that's part of the business that we're in, but it's also just a cool thing. And he and I converse a lot lately, and we're going to go on another trip later this year with the same group, and it's one of those stamped in my memory, and hopefully his too.
That is Scott Wilson, who we caught up with and met, actually, at Streamsong Resort, and he's now doing his own business, travel golf business. Wilson Links, look him up. But he shares his escapades around the globe when it comes to golf, and a lot of fun catching up with Scott. Very unique experience for him. And more to come, by the way, when we drop the podcast this week. There's more to that conversation on the Dream 18 podcast that we will put out there this weekend as well. Hey, the Open Championship, by the way, scheduled to have a record crowd, almost 300,000 fans. Casey, did you see this? Over 1 million people tried to get into the Open for tickets.
Yeah, I wonder if that a lot of those came after Tiger said he was planning to play. I wonder how that worked out. But, yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully they can accommodate a lot of those people. Obviously, some people might not get in. We'll see how that works out, but it's pretty cool.
That's, I think, a conversion of a lot of things. Tiger playing, also the fact that we're out of the pandemic and globally everything was shut down. So it's like, hey, let's go do something. And obviously people have been saving their money a little bit. Let's go try this. Let's do this. And it's back in St. Andrews. So I think it's probably a lot of different reasons why, but Tiger certainly one of them. Should be a heck of a crowd at the Open Championship coming up in July. Dream 18 show rolls on right after this with your Power Tee picks of the week. Where will Casey guide us? That's next on ESPN 690.
The spring series has come to an end, but do not worry because the summer series is here for the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. From May to August, find a ton of events that you can get in on at nfjg.org. May 7th and 8th, the Florida Coast Cup at World Golf Village. Registration is still open. May 15th, how about the Boomer Invitational at Kings Bay? Find a list of all the events coming up for the summer series at nfjg.org.
Be yourself and bank your way at Community First. Get free checking with rewards, your paycheck deposited a day early, and free digital tools. Add an account at justbeyourself.com. Community First Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
All offers with approved credit and not in conjunction. See dealer for complete details. Ram Truck Month.
Hey, we're coming at you from Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Arlington at 9600 Atlantic Boulevard, and we're celebrating more new Ram trucks than we've had in a long time. Get just the right one for you. It's here right now, just waiting to drive you home. And for any reason we don't have what you want with everything you need, we'll order it and give you a great deal. This offer won't last forever. Classic, Bighorn, limited, nothing beats a new Ram truck for work or play. Get 0% financing and save. Say it with me now. Ram trucks, Ram trucks, Ram trucks.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
We will return after these messages.
I'm here, and you should be too. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Arlington, 9600 Atlantic Boulevard.
Proud sponsor of the Dream 18 is Power Tee. Find out everything you need to know about them at powertee.com because they just make golf better. They provide an automatic teeing system while you are on the range. It is easy. No bending, no extra energy. Just worry about making contact, or trying to, and then Power Tee will tee up another ball for you. Locally, find Power Tee at Fleming Island and Blue Sky Golf Club and all over the world, including St. Andrews. PowerTee.com for all the information, and make golf better.
Thanks for helping me out, Joe. Can I get you a glass of water?
Great, thanks. No offense, Bill, but this water tastes terrible. Ugh.
Yeah, sorry about that. When you buy a new house, you never think to taste the water, do you?
No, and I've actually got several friends around Jacksonville that have the same issue. They all called Leaf Home Water Solutions for a free water test.
Free water test?
Yep, they come to your house and test your water safety for free. They can find all kinds of stuff like toxins, heavy metals, and bacteria.
Oh, I don't want my family drinking that.
Definitely not. You need a water treatment system from Leaf Home Water Solutions. It removes the harmful contaminants and makes your water clear, clean, clean and safe.
Thanks, Joe. I'm calling Leaf Home Water Solutions today.
Call 866-549-7426 now or go to goodwatertest.com for your free home water test and make sure you and your home have safe, healthy water. Call 866-549-7426 now or go to goodwatertest.com for your free in-home water test. Don't wait. Call 866-549-7426. 866-549-7426.
It's a good time to upgrade around your home. You like the sound of reducing noise coming in the house? Do you want to be more energy efficient at your house? Let Florida Georgia Windows and Doors upgrade your home. 35 years of experience to get the job done. Protect your home from storms and increase your home security with modern windows and doors from Florida Georgia Windows and Doors. 904-641-7010. 904-641-7010. Save money, look better, protect your home with Florida Georgia Windows and Doors.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
Couple minutes to go on the Dream 18 show on a Wednesday, ESPN 690, and it's time for my favorite part of the show, the Power Tee Picks of the Week. Pretty cool this week. The PGA Tour will be in Mexico for the first time in the Mexico Open officially. This was an event that has usually been played on the PGA Tour, the Latin PGA Tour, so it's pretty cool to bring it to the regular PGA Tour. 2 former winners when it was on the Latin Tour in the field, Alvaro Ortiz, otherwise known as the brother of PGA Tour winner Carlos Ortiz, and then Austin Smotherman will be in the field, 2 winners from previous. So they know the course. It's an option there. You can get Alvaro Ortiz pretty cheap since it will be his first start on the PGA Tour. For me, I like Doug Gim and Brendan Todd. They are going to cost you a little bit in salary, but this field is a lot of big name, not a lot, but a few big name guys that are just not playing well. John Rahm, Tony Finau, Abraham Answer, Patrick Reed, Gary Woodland, all guys you know, but not playing super well. So it's probably going to be a crapshoot this week. That's why I like Doug Gim and Brendan Todd. If you can get over the idea that you're paying top-notch salary for Brendan Todd, which I understand is a hard thing to do, I would play Brendan Todd and Doug Gim. On the value side, Chase Seifert, Florida State University's own, playing pretty well. Good finish last week. Best 2 finishes of the season in his last 2 starts, so I can rock with him. And then, as always, Vincent Whaley. There's never going to be a situation where I won't play Vincent Whaley. He goes by Vince now, but I'm still going to call him Vincent. We know each other like that. But nonetheless, Vince Whaley makes the cut every single time. He'll make the cut this week in Mexico. Dude's electric, can play at any golf course, and he's super cheap in fantasy. So those are the guys I'm looking at this week, and those are your Power Tee Picks of the week for fantasy golf, Brent.
All right. Golf is unlike any other sport, right? I mean, you get a guy like John Rahm playing in a field where there's not, like, you know, just name after name after name. And if you did that in a sport, we took LeBron James or Ja Morant and we played him with a bunch of, you know, good players but not great players, he'd dominate.
Right.
Golf doesn't work that way.
No, not at
you
all.
know, now it can work that way. He might dominate, but it doesn't always work that way. To your point, not really playing that well and been a little bit disappointing to this point as everybody now gears up for the next major championship, which is the PGA Championship coming up here in the month of May. Want to remind you, the Dream 18 show, we want you to be a part of it. So hashtag Dream18 on Twitter especially. Find a way to get in touch with us, whether that's email, through our TV stations and radio stations, CBS 47, Fox 30, ESPN 690. Reach out to us on Facebook in a comment. Share your golf story. What's your favorite round of golf? And we'll continue to collect them. And when we have time to put it in the show, we already are collecting some others, then we will mention along the way. Another edition of the Dream 18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors and Power Tee, will come to you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And don't forget, extended conversation with our guest Scott Wilson today on the podcast, the Dream 18 podcast. That will hit your podcast platform this weekend. Coming up next, it's Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Cam Robinson gets an extension. We're a day away from the NFL draft. Football talk, football talk, football talk. Stuart Weber catches up with Aiden Hutchinson, Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu. Those conversations coming up on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 next.
It's a good time to upgrade around your home.